wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of NBC's 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall. On today's episode, though, I am talking to Matt Cardona. How you doing today?
You forgot, all my catchphrases.
Well, you have
Deathmatch King, Always Ready, the Internet Champion, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, there's so many. You're right. There are so many. We would take up the entire interview just naming all my achievements.
Well, all the titles you have, it feels like I'm talking to like the 1997 Ultimo Dragon, because at one point he had every damn title: his face, his arms, his legs, his chest, his butt. Is that how you feel right now, that you are currently walking through airports with 10,000 titles in your belts and your luggage?
Yeah, I actually recreated that photo with all my titles. I now sell it at my gimmick table for $20.
So now, folks, you can buy the Ultimo Dragon, Matt Cardona.
Ultimo Broski, I like to say. See? There you go.
You have too many catchphrases, but I love them so much.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, people know some of your history, but I want to start from the beginning. How did you get into wrestling? Was it channel surfing, a friend, a family member?
I don't remember the exact moment or the first match, but my entire childhood was consumed with wrestling. My earliest memories involve wrestling, whether it be going to the shows or watching it on TV or renting the VHSs or, playing with the action figures. At the time, they weren't action figures. They were the LJN big rubber figures. There was no action, no articulation.
I was going to say, let's see what I got. I got my Hogan.
See, everyone had the Hogan. Me and Gene right there. I see. So yeah, I don't remember my first match. I don't remember. I'm sure, my dad wasn't even a fan. So it's not like my dad was a fan and then, was making me watch it. So I don't know exactly how I came across it, but I was obsessed and I never grew out of it. And my obsession just got more intense over the years. Once I had a little money in my pocket and I could buy all the action figures or try to get front row tickets or buy the merchandise myself, because you're going to a show, you're begging your dad, oh, can I get the program, get the shirt, the phone figure? You can't get everything. But when I have some money, I'm trying to get it all, collect them all, right? That's the expression. And then when all my friends and everyone in my high school are applying to colleges and stuff like that, I'm like, well, there's no wrestling college, there's no WWF college, right? Like that's what I wanted to do, be a pro wrestler. Everyone thought I was crazy. Even my mom thought I was crazy. I wasn't a big guy. Senior year of high school, I wrestled, totally different, but I was, I think 160, some scrawny little kid, tall, like 6'1", but 160. So I wasn't a big dude by any means, but I made a deal with my parents. There was a local wrestling school on Long Island. I said, if you pay for that wrestling school, they'll pay for my community college. And I went and I BS through it. The whole time I'm just drawing up wrestling logos and designs for my tights. I didn't care. I would skip class to go to Toys R Us and figure hunt. But fortunately for me, I got signed to WWE really early. I got signed in February 2006, so wasn't even 21.
And of course, so much has happened since then, but it's amazing. You started at such a young age because, again, like you just said, you've loved wrestling your entire life. I'm in that same boat, but obviously I didn't keep working out and getting those big muscles like you got going on right now. But on June 11th, you actually have a pay-per-view named after you, Always Ready with a Z, NWA. You're defending your championship belt, but how does it feel to have your childhood dream suddenly coming true, and now you have a whole entire event named after you?
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys who have had a pay-per-view named after them. The Rock had Rock Bottom. Shawn Michaels was on the poster for D-Generation X, so I guess that's kind of about him. I can't think of another one, so I'm in good company. Shawn Michaels, The Rock,
Revenge of the Taker, I guess, would be one.
Was that a memorable pay-per-view though? Come on. Come on.
Well, you're asking for names. I didn't say if it was memorable. Yeah.
All right, well, still, okay. Undertaker, Matt Cardona, The Rock, and Shawn Michaels.
Same.
That's a Mount Rushmore right there.
No kidding. Does it feel good? Look, it must feel great.
Feels great. Feels awesome. Listen, I am not a politicker. I didn't knock on Billy Corgan's door and say, hey, I got this great idea. Let's name it Always Ready. No, they realize that, like, I am the face of the company. I am making waves here. As soon as I came to NWA, I said, I'm here for one thing, and that's to be the best. That's to be the champion. And it's working, right? And it's pissing a lot of people off. And I understand that because listen, I talk people think I'm disrespecting NWA when I say it's old and dated and boring. I don't disrespect NWA. I respect NWA, the history, the everything, the legacy. I'm the champion. I know people thought I was gonna make a spinner belt to put a purple strap. No, I respect that title. Nick Aldis, by the way, did change the title. He added a UK England plate. I would never add a New York plate. I would never disrespect the title like that. But I want NWA to succeed. I want it to grow. I want to take it to the next level. And I feel like I'm doing that. So it's definitely an honor to have Alwayz Ready named after me. And it's great that the Cardona family, Mike Knox, VSK, Chelsea Green, they're all, they've got my back. So with Nick Aldis, if he thinks he's going to beat me, there's no way. I got the whole family behind me.
And then there must have been a moment when your WWE run ended. You could have easily gone on the indies and just did the woo, woo, woo and kept that going. It could have lasted a good while, but you, I think, decided, let's go the opposite way. Let's change everything about you in increments. And obviously it's worked out for you. So what inspired you to suddenly decide, I'm going to change everything about myself and go a different route?
Yeah, even in WWE, I was slowly trying to change myself, drop the woo-woo-woo, drop the headband and glasses long time ago. But, I don't write the show. So, if I'm trying to portray something, it doesn't necessarily come across. If I'm doing something, but nobody sees it, or, if I'm in this match, it's 5 minutes and I don't get to talk, I don't get to do anything. You don't know what my personality is. You don't know what I'm trying to get across. So with this new freedom, I'm like, okay, I'm the boss now. I'm the big boss man. You know what I'm saying? I'm Vince McBroski, and I'm gonna be the self-chosen one. I'm gonna put myself on the top of the ladder, top of the mountain. That's what I did, and I don't even want to say reinvented myself, because this is who I am. But I think the people finally saw who I am, and it was a slow burn, because you can't just quote unquote turn heel, especially like on the indies. Turn heel on what? Some random show? Do you think the whole world's gonna realize? No, it's not gonna work. But when I went to GCW and I laid out Nick Gage, it really opened up some eyes. And that GCW crowd hated me. They hated me.
Oh yeah.
And it was a snowball effect where the next couple of shows I would do, it'd be a couple boos. Then, then 50-50. Then I walked through a curtain. I'm like, am I getting cheered tonight, booed tonight? I don't know. Then, slowly 100% boos. No one's cheering for me. So it was an organic thing. And yes, I credit it to that GCW event that trended worldwide, number one over the UFC and the Olympics. Thank you very much. But, independent wrestling, it's not where wrestlers go to die anymore. I'm trying to prove that you can have a very successful career. And I mean that, not just winning titles, but making money. And I want to prove that you can have a very successful career without, a WWE or an AEW.
You brought up that GCW show. How did it feel being pelted in the face with bottles? Because that image of you standing there and the trash, it just brought back so many, I guess 90s nostalgia of ECW and NWO and people just throwing trash in the ring. Like, what was that like? What's that feeling?
It was definitely one of the greatest nights of my career. So many people thought I was crazy for doing that match. I guess myself included, but I knew the people wanted to see it. And in wrestling, believe it or not, sometimes you got to give the people what they want. Not everything can be a swerve. Not everything can be this long waiting game. Sometimes if the moment is right, you got to strike. And that's what we did. Myself, Nick Gage, GCW, Brett Lauderdale, we did it. And it was the talk of the summer. There's no denying that. And it definitely changed my career 100%.
Yes. And you mentioned earlier about, before you were told what to do, and now obviously you are the boss of yourself. And I think that's great. So June 11th, this huge event coming up, what can fans expect with the boss, Matt Cardona, having his own pay-per-view? When they watch this on pay-per-view, what can they expect?
Well, listen, first of all, I'm going to have awesome new ring gear, right? Because I'm all about the ring gear. I'm all about the presentation. But Nick is a hell of a competitor. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not. I mean, he's already been the champion, 2 times?
Yeah.
And he needs NWA. He bleeds NWA. He loves NWA. He was the face of NWA until I came along. And I know he doesn't like that. And that's fine. The thing is, Nick doesn't like me, but we're very similar. He doesn't want to share the spotlight. Well, neither do I, Nick. and it's just me and you in that ring, the title on the line. Listen, I'm sure there's going to be some collusion. I'm sure Mickey's going to try to get involved. I'm sure the Cardonas are going to try to get involved only, to save me from some cheating. But it's going to be one hell of a match. And you know what? I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star match. It might be a fight. It might be a little brawl. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be a match that everybody should check out. Two guys just fighting for the 10 pounds of gold. Who wants it more? We'll find out at Always Ready.
I am so excited for that event. And there are so many free agents right now in wrestling. Of course, today, as we record, is Bray Wyatt's birthday. So I would say, is that someone you would like to see join NWA and have some matches with you?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I didn't even think about that. I beat Nick Aldis. The lights go up, lights go back on. Bray Wyatt's in the ring. Yeah, that'd be cool. But I'm really not concerned about anybody else. I'm concerned about me and my path, and Chelsea too, I guess. But I can't be bothered with what anyone else is doing. Of course, I'm watching and I'm making, sure I know what's going on. You have to be a student of the game. That's how you get left behind, is when you stop watching and following. So of course I'm following what everyone else is doing, but I'm focused on myself and how to better myself and how to grow. I hate using the word brand, but grow my brand and grow, everything I'm involved with, whether it be the NWA or the Major Wrestling Figure podcast or whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, you do have a podcast about, action figures, pretty much Major Wrestling Figure podcast. And how, obviously you said you were in love with wrestling, but obviously this love has transitioned into purchasing very expensive, rare action figures. So where did that suddenly transfer into?
Well, yeah, as a kid, I had played with the figures. I had my own figure federations where I'd be the booker, and I'd, once I got a computer, I was keeping track of the title histories and stuff like that. But then eventually, it's not cool to be collecting toys, or at least it wasn't back in the late 90s, early 2000s when I'm in high school. But now with the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, we're trying to break that stigma. It's cool now to read comics. It's cool now to play video games. Why can't you collect figures? What's wrong with that? So we're trying to break that stigma, and the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, it's really blowing up. And it's not only about collecting rare, expensive action figures. Trust me, I have a bunch. I also have a bunch of figures that are worthless, that just have sentimental value. And some of those are my absolute favorites.
I was gonna say, I have one here that's probably worth nothing, but maybe it is. The Dunk the Clown Hasbro with the hair.
I mean, in that condition, look at the hair. It's all over the place. It's not nice. You gotta take care of those figures.
Why do you think Giant Gonzalez had real hair? Like, why does Doink get the hair, but Gonzalez on his crotch and his butt? I always wondered about this outfit in general.
You wanted fake hair on that Giant Gonzalez crotch? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I do. I want green hair right here. Let's turn it. Oh, that actually doesn't look good. We don't want to start an X-rated show here.
Yeah.
I still think that you should have airbrushed something.
There is actually a Jack specific Giant Gonzalez Collect Superstars that has the hair. So there you go. Yeah,
there you go. I gotta go online now and do that.
That's right. Might have to hunt that down. That's right.
That's my next purchase here. So currently, though, you talked about how you concentrate on yourself, but there's got to be someone in the WWE or AEW that you have your eye on that's saying, man, if I could get in their ring with that person right now in my career, this would explode. Is there anyone from both organizations that you would just jump at to fight?
I mean, listen, if money talks, right? I'm not saying I wouldn't have a conversation with Tony Khan or Vince McMahon if they asked me to come in or to do a match, but I'm not trying to get to WWE. I've been there, done that. I'm not trying. I mean, I guess technically I did AEW at 2 shows, 3 shirts there, but 2 shows. But listen, I love both those companies. They're both doing great. But I'm not trying to get back there. That's not my focus. I'm not waking up every day like, ooh, what can I do to get them to call me? I don't care. If they did call me, great. I would, of course, have a conversation. But right now, I'm focused on me, and it seems to be working. I mean, look, I'm the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. And that's not something that, when I got released, I don't think anybody, especially myself, would have thought, okay, in a year or so, Matt Cardona is going to be the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Just because I doubled down on myself and focused on making the best version of myself, and that opportunity presented itself, and I kicked open that door.
Yeah, and I really think that there was a moment with NWO because, of course, the pandemic really hurt them. They were doing well, and then boom, no audiences, and suddenly it was this wild, wild west of people were leaving that company, and Eddie Kingston, Ricky Starks, Thunder Rosa, and now here you are. And I think people have seen, oh, wait. We thought this was the place to go, then it wasn't, and now it's 100% is. So do you feel like with your involvement here, more stars are looking at this and going, wait a minute, there are more options over there than there are over here?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm all about opportunity, right? And what place can give me the most opportunity and the biggest platform. I feel like NWA, from the moment I walked in there, laid out Trevor Murdoch, laid out the champion already in the focus. But also, you know, I love the environment back there at NWA. For instance, at the power tapings, if I have a promo to cut at the podium, you know, there'll be no script. There's no bullet points. It'll just say, okay, Matt Cardona, segment 5, 3 minutes. And I wasn't used to that, you know, where I could say whatever I wanted. And trust me, a lot of people didn't like the things that I said. But there were no repercussions because, you know, as Eric Bischoff once said, controversy creates cash. You know, I'm trying to put butts in seats. I'm trying to piss people off. I'm trying to get people to pay money, whether it be buying a ticket or ordering on pay-per-view or Fight TV or whatever, to see me get my ass kicked. That's what I want. That's the goal. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to lose, especially against Nick Aldis, but I want people, whether it be backstage or the audience, to hate me so bad. And I don't understand why they hate me, because I'm such a nice guy. You know, I'm a baby face. I'm trying to save NWA, but for some reason they don't like me. I don't get it. But as long as they're paying their money, I don't care if they cheer or boo, as long as they're paying their money to see me.
That's the goal, right? Butts and seats.
That's right.
Money in pockets.
That's right.
So now I think forever you'll go down as someone who influenced everybody with having a Twitter account, having a YouTube account. Before it was the thing. Everybody and their mother has a Twitter and a YouTube channel.
Sure.
Do you feel like that you get the credit you deserve for being the forefront person behind that?
I do not, but that's fine. I know, and I know what it did for my career. I know that if I didn't start that YouTube show on my own in 2011, we wouldn't be sitting here talking. Right. You know, I would have gotten released from WWE that year or the next year, you know, and I probably would have, you know, went on the indies and faded into obscurity. You know what I'm saying? But I took a chance on myself back then because I wasn't satisfied with my position. But I'm in this giant mega company, which is WWE. And like I said earlier, I'm not the boss. I don't write the show. I don't have the pencil. So how can I change my position? And I forced them to change my position. I started this YouTube show and I got the people behind me where they would chant my name at shows I wasn't even at. Sometimes they would buy my merch, and it just wasn't making sense because I'm not, they're cheering for this guy. He's not on TV. They're buying his merch. He's not on TV. What's going on? They had to use me. I forced them to use me. So if that opened up the doors for other people to create opportunities for themselves, that's great. If I don't get the credit, it is what it is. I'm not about getting the credit. I don't really care.
Do you feel like you were eventually somehow, I guess this is me observing, do you think you were eventually punished for the word, I guess, getting yourself over without creative, I know you don't like that term, without creative writing you, hey, you're going to do this and you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Suddenly the fans were chanting, buying your merchandise because of what you did. Yeah. Do you feel like someone said, I don't like that?
You know, I get this question all the time. And, you know, even at one point I may have thought that I was getting buried or punished. You know, you see from an outsider, or even for me, I was living it. God damn it. I start this show. I prove myself. I get on TV. I'm getting, you know, chanted over the Rock at Madison Square Garden. And then all of a sudden I'm getting pushed off wheelchairs, you know, pushed off stages in a wheelchair, you know, so maybe here's the thing, right? I hate blaming other people. I always like to take accountability. So if I could go back in time, I would have knocked on Vince McMahon's door and asked, hey, what's going on? But I didn't do that. So that's on me. You know, I don't blame anybody. I hate saying that. I will never say that I got buried. If anyone buried me, I did, because I didn't, you know, knock on Vince's door and say, hey, what's going on here? So there's a lot of people, I mean, throughout history who say like Vince or this certain company, this promoter held him down. I don't want to be one of those guys. Mm-hmm. I could have asked the question. I didn't. So I blame myself. But you know what? That wasn't the end of my career.
No.
So that's a time that was a life lesson that I learned. And it was a great lesson. There was a lot of good and bad in that time, but I'm a better man for it.
You brought up, you know, you should have gone and knocked on Vince's door. Of course, the biggest story in the wrestling world right now is the Sasha Banks Naomi. Is it a work? Is it not a work? Did they quit? Did they not quit? Are they suspended? I guess, do you think that it's okay for a wrestler, you just said, is it okay for a wrestler to go, I don't agree with this, and then walk out, or say, I don't agree with this, and then do what was told and continue working?
I mean, listen, I put out a tweet the next day about it, kind of a joke tweet. It was not well received, but it was also very well received. It's who's to say what the right answer is, right? Everyone has their opinions. I'm not going to, say this is the only way to do business, or you shouldn't do this. This is unprofessional. I'm not going to say that. I put out my take in a joking way, and that's all I'm going to say on the matter.
I'm assuming the Sasha Banks fans came for you that day, because I interviewed Cameron, Arian, Andrew, and she had many things to say about Sasha Banks being manipulated. I mean, Naomi being manipulated by Sasha Banks, and boy, did the Sasha Banks fans come for her head that day. So I'm assuming the same thing happened to you.
All I'm going to say is it was too many tweets to check that day.
So you were attacked. That's okay.
I'm not saying that.
You said it.
I did not say that.
No, he didn't say it. Let's talk about something, though, because I think it was one of those moments where everyone was kind of scratching their heads. You mentioned being thrown off the stage in a wheelchair by Kane, and yet you were doing great. And then they threw you into the John Cena Kane storyline with Eve Torres, who was, like, at the time, one of your girlfriend characters. What exactly was the end game plan on that? It felt like, hey, let's just sacrifice Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, to this because we need Kane and John Cena to have some sort of friction.
So again, obviously we all know what the outcome was, right?
Yeah, yes.
I literally got
kicked in the nuts.
Well, I kicked in the nuts. Choke slam through a stage, choke slam up a loading dock, in a wheelchair, push up the stage. But at the time, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is great. I'm in there with John Cena. A year prior, I'm not on the goddamn show. I'm starting a YouTube show to get noticed. A year later, I'm with John Cena in this angle with Kane. And I'm a very optimistic person. I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll wrestle Kane at WrestleMania. Maybe I'll wrestle him at Backlash. And then once I realized, okay, that's not happening. Once I realized that, okay, I'm not getting my revenge. I'm not gonna get that feel good moment. And then I slowly realized, okay, well, now I'm not like on TV again, like at all. And then, they're not making as much merch, and I'm not on all the live events, and I'm making a lot less money. That's when I should have knocked on Vince's door and said, what's going on here? When I still had some ground to stand on. And I didn't do that. So I blame myself. Obviously we know what happened. It wasn't a great situation. It was not a fairy tale ending to that story, but I believe I have proved that there's no one in this business who's been counted out and had come back more times than me. So that was just another one of those times where I was knocked down, but I brought myself back all by myself, and I'm very proud of that.
Hey, you did get to be friends with Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, for a little while on a.
That was before that.
Yeah, of course, that's before that. We don't talk about what happened later. We can talk about the good times, the good times. But yeah, I think that was one of those moments too, where you're like, man, that the celebrities are now rubbing up against, Zack Ryder, and it's all working out for him. Though I definitely had the headband with the hair.
Thanks.
I did.
I appreciate that.
Of course, man. You got to support the people you enjoy, and I was definitely supporting your character and enjoying it, and then you were thrown off in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I actually last year I did a podcast called MC True Long Island Story, and it was an episode by episode, week by week kind of synopsis of what happened exactly a decade ago. So I went through the whole journey week by week. Check it out. It's wherever you get podcasts, on YouTube. It's like 50 episodes of this. I started the YouTube show. Oh my God, now I'm with Hugh Jackman. So it was like a nice journey. And the reason I started that was kind of, if I could encourage one fan out there, one person to bet on themselves and take a chance on themselves, because that was the moral of the story, right? Nobody believed in me, but I did. And I didn't want to prove, even now, I don't want to prove anybody wrong. I want to prove myself right. So that's kind of like how I go through life.
So then how did you feel about your WrestleMania moment, winning the Intercontinental title in that ladder match and then losing the next night?
I get asked this question all the time too. First of all, winning the title, WrestleMania, my dad coming in the ring, trying to put that cowboy hat on me. I'm I mean, definitely top 5 moments in my career, 100%. And people ask me all the time how I felt about losing it the next night. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it added to the story because guess what? We're still talking about it. What, 6 years later? If I would have lost at some random in your house show against the Miz or Cesaro, who would have cared? We wouldn't be talking about that time I lost to Cesaro at Judgment Day.
In your house. I love it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody would be talking about it. Nobody would have cared. The fact that I finally won the big one, it gets taken away. I feel like that was the whole story of Zack Ryder, and it was a perfect story. If you ask me, I wish the same thing would have happened when Kurt Hawkins and I won the tag team titles a couple years later at WrestleMania. I wish we would have lost them the next night because we held on to him for like a month or two and lost him on some random Raw. And we were like, it was like a meaningless title reign. I wish we would have won them, had that moment, and then lost them the next night.
Yeah, that would have been nice. And then of course you were, so just jumping around now. You were one of the major brothers at one point in an Edge head, and I think the reveal of no one knowing it first when you guys were swapping out as Edge during a match was like this mind-blowing moment because Kurt Angle did that before with his brother and everyone was like, wait, what's going on? Once you do it once, you can't do it twice because everyone sees it coming.
And we did it 3 times technically because I did it and then Brian did it.
Yeah.
So we that was our idea and we had pitched that to Edge and he loved it. And without Edge, we wouldn't have been able to do that, obviously, because Edge, world heavyweight champion, top guy, he didn't need Brett and Brian, the Major Brothers, but he was smart enough to realize, like, okay, this will add to my heat. These can be the guys who take all the bumps for me, all the falls for me. And it was a great pairing, a great learning experience for close to a year. We sat front row, better than front row, whether we were ringside against, him versus Undertaker or Batista, we were right there, having this awesome view of how main event matches should work. So great learning experience.
And then, of course, now Edge has Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. So I guess he has new Edge heads around. So hopefully they end up doing.
Well, there's only one Edge heads. It's Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. These guys, they're Judgment Day. They're something else. See, they're named after In Your House.
If they were named after Revenge of the Taker, then we'd have gold, Jerry. But we. I love how it always comes back to In Your House. We should sit here and talk about In Your House. What about? Remember they gave away a house?
I do remember that. That was in Florida somewhere.
And there's a story about the person getting the house, and then eventually just being like, "Oh my God, I don't even live here. I don't even live in Florida. What am I gonna do with this house?"
That's funny.
And they ended up selling it. But I think people forget when you win prizes, you actually have to pay taxes on prizes.
Absolutely.
Like The Price is Right. People don't realize, like, oh, you win the showcase and a car. Yeah, but you also have to pay the taxes on that. They don't. That ruined the game,
Oh, absolutely.
But whatever. But again, June 11th, NWA, always ready. You and Nick Aldis are going to kick the crap out of each other. And I guess I got 2 more questions. One about this, and of course, this pay-per-view named after you. We just kind of discussed how you said you weren't involved with the process. So how did someone just come up to you?
I might have, said like, hey, like, wouldn't it be cool if this pay-per-view was named after me and had all my logo? Like, listen, I don't write the show. Billy, he was smart enough to realize, okay, this is a good idea. We should do it. I don't, I don't have like influence over him or anybody in that way. Maybe I, pitch some ideas every once in a while, but I think as the face of the company, we can't. What's Nick Aldis's catchphrase? What's his, right? Like, what are we going to call it?
I don't
know. What's Trevor Murdoch's catchphrase? What are we going to call it? Like, come on. It has to be always ready. It can't be like the national treasure, like Nick Aldis. I mean, I guess it could be, but that's not a cool T-shirt.
I think Nicolas Cage will come and maybe sue you a little bit.
True. But listen, it's going to be a fight. Aldis and I, we have history. Now our wives are involved. He has his boys involved. I have my family involved. I know it's going to be a brawl. I know it's going to be a fight. This will not be some classic mat wrestling match. It's going to be a war.
I can't wait. June 11th, NWA, always with a Z.
With a Z,
ready.
that's right.
Yeah, don't type an S. You will find it on Twitter if you're looking for it. But if you want to hashtag that, use a Z. One final question, though, Matt. What are your goals for the year? You've accomplished so much so far, but what else do you have on your horizons?
That's interesting question. I'm just kind of going with the flow. Of course, I have, goals in mind, things I want to reveal publicly. Not so much. I like to keep things in my back pocket. But man, I definitely want to, of course, beat Nick Aldis, continue being the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. We have Impact Wrestling coming up. I'm with Brian Myers there as the major players, maybe win some tag team gold there. GCW Homecoming coming up this summer, the same show where I beat Nick Gage. What am I going to do on this show? It's got to be something that's as good or better. So other than that, I have the Major Wrestling for podcast like we talked about before. I'm making my own toys. We have our own toys. I got them right here. I mean, look at Jeff Jarrett right here, available right now.
Bendable?
That's right. Major Bendy's Major Pod merch with the 1995 style Jeff Jarrett. Oh, look who it is. It's the 1999. Don't piss me off, Jeff Jarrett.
Where's it? Don't make me. It should say, don't make me mad.
No, this is the most accurate Jeff Jarrett figure ever. And then the last one in the set is Conrad Thompson. You know Conrad.
Of course.
The first ever Conrad Thompson figure. So, of course, I'm doing the podcast, making my own wrestling figures, wrestling. I'm very, very busy, but I'm loving it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm living the dream, having a lot of fun, making a lot of money. And that's what life's all about, right?
That is true. Fun and money.
That's right.
Well, Matt Cardona, I cannot wait for June 11th. NWA always ready. I'm excited, and I know you're going to kick the crap out of Nick Aldis, unless I interview him next week, and I'll say probably the opposite.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to change your tune when you interview him.
No. He responded to my email. We'll be getting this hooked up. Don't worry.
All right.
I'll make sure I always promote you. Maybe.
I appreciate that.
Matt, thank you so much for being here. Again, folks, thanks for watching NBC's 10 Count. I've been Steve Fall. He's Matt Cardona. Buy his merch, buy his action figures, buy everything he has. He needs money in his pocket, folks. Have a good one. Bye.